be talking about what Psykkle is up to. We're going to talk about the big Terminus Festival that's coming up here in May that Psykkle will be taking a part of. We'll be talking a little bit about what it's like to work in the studio and what it's like to be performing live, what the differences and so forth are. Basically try and give the listeners at home a bit of an idea of what it's like to be an actual industrial band. Or at least that's the plan. Maybe not. We've also got some music that the guys have brought, and of course the usual selection of music that I myself have. So, yeah, hope you are ready and waiting and anticipating a fun-filled program this evening, listeners. So, before we get into the thick of things, though, let's get a good set of music undergoing. I want to start off with one of my current favorites, Dead When I Found Her. I really enjoyed the Ragdoll Blues album, which, of course, we've been hearing on and off during the past few months since I've picked up the album. So, we're going to start off with the song New Age of Reason, and we'll see where things go from there. Describe yourself to somebody who has not heard your music before.
Well, I guess the broad term would be industrial, but I like to just call it dark electro because there's a lot of influences from a bunch of different things. Mm-hmm. So I like to call it dark electro, but there is a lot of like cyberpunk theme in there, even though we're not necessarily a cyberpunk band. But I like to use that association as well, because just with the subject matter that we work with and things. So I think that would be the best way to describe what we do.
All right. Yeah. So we've got a bit of a lineup change since the last time you've been in the studio here. Guys?
Well, Sean here is, he's been with Psykkle almost since the beginning. He's our live keyboard player. Mm-hmm. And then Steven is our live drummer. He's been in the band for about a year now.
Exactly 1 year now.
Is it exactly 1 year?
Yeah, it's been 1 year since you came to me drunk and asking me to do it for you.
Yeah, sounds about right. We make all our business decisions quite inebriated, so that's just how that happens.
Well, isn't that pretty much de rigueur for any band?
Yeah, let's just say hindsight's 20/20 and I have to deal with it now. Mm-hmm. So.
All right, but as I understand it, you guys are pretty close to having a new album of material available. I'm assuming it's going to be going to CRL Studios?
Yeah, CRL Studios. They're primarily who we work with now. We work with them on everything so far. We've put out 2 remix EPs through them. This will be our first full length. We're also working on a special edition, which will be a mirrored version of the album. Same track listing, a bunch of different remixers. So far we have confirmed Waste. We just got a remix back from them. They're a really good part of this group. Expecting them back from Uberbite right away, kind of like they've gone from industrial more like kind of like hard dance, and they're from the UK, and, so slowly putting that together. We're expecting June is when we're going to have it all done.
All right.
And out and ready to go, so.
Well, I can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I can wait either. It's about time.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess for you, Sean and Steven, what are your experiences so far being in, well, I know you've been in the band for a while now, Sean, but you're really mostly only a part of the live performances. Do you get any creative input in the band?
I think I get a few in regards to live shows when it comes to the techniques and the samples that we can use and where and when we can actually input stuff that's not set in stone in the background track. That's kind of, Evan will ask what I'm comfortable with doing. We'll come to a medium agreement and make it not too technical or diverse to what I have to do.
I try to keep it as open as I can, so, these guys can still, be a little bit open with what they do, so I don't want to make it so linear, so, whenever I have ideas, I always run it by these guys, so they do have, creative input in that sense, saying like, hey, I have this idea, what do you guys think? Do you think we should do it? Do you think it probably wouldn't work for this time? Or, if I get something in my head that I need, a second opinion on, these are the guys I go to, so.
So a little bit like you provide the framework, and then they get to
exactly.
to play with a little bit of the fiddling, fiddling
I'll
knobs
show
and
them,
dials.
for example, if I'm working on a song and it's very bone structured, like a minute into the song or whatever, and I'll just show it to these guys like, hey, what do you think of this? Do you think it'll be a good live song, or do you think we can make it faster, or whatever? So
there's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah,
but that doesn't happen very often. Usually it's never exactly a minute and a half. It's more like I'm almost finished. But can I have a little bit of input now?
Yeah. Well, I'm always usually working on like 3 songs at a time. So some are like completed instrumentals without vocals, or almost finished songs. It really depends, but yeah.
Now, for live drumming for an industrial band, I've always kind of wondered how that works, because I'm assuming when you're creating the music in the studio, you're not actually using live drums at that point.
Yeah, it's all like step sequence, sample drums. And
So
things.
not to be rude or anything, but aren't you basically the drumming equivalent of a photocopier at that point?
More or less, but yes, no. Like basically how it works whenever we're sitting in the studio or whenever we're actually on stage, I have a set of headphones on that just provide me with a click track, and then I just go.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to change it up a little bit, it doesn't really affect any of the music, just as long as I'm staying within time and
Right.
it looks cool, I
Right.
guess. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's more or less. It's now a bigger visual than necessarily trying to be a photocopier. So,
I wouldn't even really say more visual. Like the way I see it is like,
well, people can see me, so.
Yeah, well, yeah. But for me, it's just the fact that like you see a lot of industrial bands. It's just like a guy with a guided keyboard or 2 guys with a keyboard or whatever, which it used to be.
Actually, reminds me a little bit of the last time I saw Assemblage 23.
Yeah, exactly. But and then you see other bands that have these live drummers, and the energy of those shows just seem to be so much bigger.
It does.
So
I've always found that
energy
it
thing.
does provide much more of a stage presence.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like Steven's able to throw in like extra fills here and there, like especially like key points in a song to like really bring some impact, or just throw in some stuff. And then we have like loops playing at the same time. They're pre-programmed that we're glitching on the fly and stuttering and doing all this stuff. So really, it's not really say like you were saying to be a photocopier. It's really kind of just to add to the whole mix to kind of bring it kick it up an extra notch. So.
Like I said, I didn't mean any offense by it.
No, never is.
Something I've always sort of wondered about that. So,
Well, I was wondering exactly how we were going to do it myself. Like when Evan grabbed me and said, like, I want you to play drums for me after a horrible show. I really wondered exactly how that was going to happen, because most of the bands that I came from were a lot of metal bands, right? So I played drums for Within the Ashes, I played drums for Dead Jesus. So more or less, I was really, really more interested in exactly how we were going to put it together rather than, just actually play the song.
I wanted to make it pretty technical, and then pretty shortly into actually planning the technicalities of it, I realized that it was just not cost effective to do it the way I initially wanted to do it. So we just made it super simple, where we just have the backing